Hello and welcome to the Build-A-Bear Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to work on a model kit and a Lego set and hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, and the Tier 2 Blue emote. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can say hi or use other people's emotes. Or, this is very important, if you want to be a lurker and you don't want to say anything, you can just do that. It's okay. It's okay to just chill and relax and not get into it. Although I do like to see you chatting. You don't have to. I'm looking forward to tonight. Wristvan's here. Hello, Wristvan. Throwing in that blue emote as well. Appreciate that. I think tonight might be a little relaxed. As we start getting into the holiday season, people start doing more stuff on the weekends, going out. There are some charity drives this weekend. And we'll have those that are quite popular, and I understand that. We will, of course, be raiding tonight Desert Bus, which has started. Started this early evening, this afternoon for them because they're on the West Coast, and is running basically a whole week. So exponentially growth, they probably won't go more than a week. But we'll be raiding at the end of this stream because it's fun to go and don't tell them. But my favorite block is Night Watch, which for me is 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. So 6 p.m. to midnight for them. But Night Watch is probably my favorite shift of any shift. It's the one with my most friends that I know in real life on it. And hopefully not tonight, and it'll be a night I can actually watch it live. They will be doing some shenanigans that I prepared for them. A this or that. That should be pretty solid. Hey, Jam, just subscribed. Resubscribe with Prime. That's 58 months. Thank you so much, Jam. I'm going to hit the old applause here. Woo! Lashbrook is also here. Thank you, Lashbrook, for being here. Yeah, let's throw the emotes in the chat. Thank you very much, Jam. 58 months it's so many goddamn months. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for your continued support. It's almost the most months possible. There's a lot of months, and you're getting there. But there is a particular number, and I believe it's 63. I want to say the most is 63. Don't quote me on that. It could be 60. Lashbrook is at 60, so it might be that, but I think it's 63 months. I'm pretty sure that it's that long. I looked it up the other day. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Y'all being here matters the most. Also, because Jam resubbed, I'm now at 41 subscribers. We don't even have the numbers up, but I'm over 40, and I don't have to I won't have to put this up for if somebody drops immediately, which is nice. A little buffer there before I was going to start going, we need to go to 39. Because I am getting a payout on probably processed on Monday or Tuesday of $70 because the threshold is now not 50 anymore, or now is now 50 instead of being 100. So I didn't make the $100, but I am getting a payout, which is it's still good, still nice. So we're going to finish the Exia Repair 2 tonight. Then we're going to jump over and work on the Street Racer 3-in-1. There is a hot rod and a race car and the Street Racer. And I think we're going to start with the hot rod because I honestly think it looks really cool. But we'll end with the Street Racer, which is the main one. And we'll talk about all kinds of things. Some sad news, some interesting news. Some just straight up bullshit. And then we'll laugh at a billionaire. Because we can. Because freedom of speech allows us to just completely make fun of this particular rich person. I'm going to retweet my tweet here, see if we can get a few more friends to join us. Because it's always nice to have more friends around. Then we'll get into some shenanigans. All right, I'm going to go to the overhead here. Booyah! Oh, got the wrong thing up. I had to add that to make sure it was there. Great. There's the Exia. We're good. Hello. Welcome, Nike. Happy to have you here. We're just about to start working on our kit here, or continuing to wrap it up. Because we got the top of the kit done. Yes, this is the Exia Repair 2 high grade. This is a kit from 2009, although most of the parts are from 2007. The Repair 2 parts are the newer ones. And we are almost body complete on that. We're going to work on the waist. We have to complete the waist, which does have some stickers, and then we'll work on a couple of the weapons we haven't done yet. Put it all together, and then we'll call it case closed on this model kit, which was a fun little build. 2009 is a while ago, but it's still, you still start with the chest. It's still a pretty modern kit. Nikki says I used to have this kit. I have the RG and MG version at the moment. Yes, I have built the real grade. I built that earlier this year. Pretty solid real grade. All right, so we need some parts here. We at this point in this kit we have not graduated to the point where there are where there's a lot of English text on there, which for the most part is fine, but occasionally it does get a little worrisome when you're like, oh, I would like this to be there. All right, my camera is a little off center from where I like it, so I have to adjust a little bit here. That's pretty centered. That's more centered. Okay, that is, yeah, the line is off a little bit. But it's fine. We'll figure it out. All right, so we need that. And then let's get a sticker on there. And then we got some C parts put on there. But we got a sticker that's got to bend over some parts here. A color correcting sticker, as they say. So we'll get that out there. All right, so let's see. What can we get into here? Let's do some quick game news hits. Remedy is going to be. Did you see? We'll get an update HG 00 series. Yes, I did see that. That is the next update wave that's coming. I did see that. I thought that was very cool. There's some great kits in from that show or shows. So I am looking forward to that. Remedy is going to be co-developing and co-publishing with 505 Games, which is like, yeah, okay, to make Control 2. The co-publishing makes total sense. That Remedy's got a lot on their plate, so I'm like totally understand that. It is the co-development that does get me a little worried. But hopefully it'll still be a rad game. I really enjoyed Control. It was one of my favorite games of that year. So I am looking forward to Control 2. So just to jump back there, Nike, I do think we'll see that. I think that 00 is a series that people like. We're seeing so many seed kits come out of nowhere, so it might not be the high grades. We might see them in real grade or full mechanics because we're getting a lot of seed, and so maybe 00 will also be on the horizon. But again, I don't know if it'll be like upgraded high grades or new high grades. It might be other. It might be like the middle ground, or like maybe we'll see like a Quanta, like entry grade, maybe. I don't know. I think that might be more realistic than new high grades, but who knows? It's also going to be interesting to see how Witch from Mercury sells, how G-Witch sells, like how those kits do, like in the market, because if it does really well, then they're going to do some of their older stuff, but we're going to probably see a lot of that next year. And if it doesn't do well, if they don't immediately start flying off the shelves, then who knows? They could get a little skittish. It will be, in my opinion, very interesting to see how those kits do. Because like the kits we've seen so far of the mobile suits we've seen so far are all like pretty fucking solid. So it'll be interesting to see if people are like really interested in Ariel or not. But yeah, anyway, that was a little bit of things here. Let's see. They're doing some stuff. They're going to spend more money on Control 2, which is great. I just hope it's weird. Because when you start dealing with like different companies, it could change like the vibe, and I hope the vibes are still weird as hell with a sequel to Control. Let's see. Okay, so Sonic Frontiers. The director of Sonic Frontiers was making some tweets. Morimo Kishimoto, and those tweets were, I don't want to say they were taken out of context. They were translated literally by like Google Translate and without some nuance. And the nuance was missed a little bit. And so I think it's totally fair to report on those. Do I wish that websites that were reporting on this had asked someone that can speak both languages to translate and not just relied on Google Translate? Yeah. Because basically, Kishimoto was like, hey, we're taking feedback seriously from fans and critics alike. And, we don't think we're quite there yet. We're not done. Now, that could mean DLC. That could mean updates to the game. Who knows? But he's, according to people that can understand Japanese and English, he said something to the effect of, actually, let me just real quick, which way does this one go? It's hard to see. Okay, I think it's this way. That he basically said to the effect, we're treating feedback, your feedback, like we would if this was a global play test. And, to give benefit of the doubt, he didn't say we're treating Sonic Frontiers at like a released video game that people paid money for as a play test, but we said we're treating its feedback as if it was a play test, is apparently what he meant, which was, again, through Google Translate, taken a little differently. Now, he did say not quite there yet, and that they still have a long way to go. So even with some like nuance, it's still like it's still a wild thing for a director to say of a video game that is out and you can spend money on, to be like, hey, we know we're not done with this yet. Because the immediate response is, well, then don't put it out if you're not done. Don't put out a game that's not done. What are you doing? So that was like a little bit of hullabaloo. And again, people will take it out of context. But with context, it's still not great. It's still like, I don't know. Let's see. Other news. Okay. Let's do this. Everything is a live service game. Indeed, Aristovan. Even a single player game is a live service game. Okay, so if you've been following the Twitter fiascos, either by being on Twitter or just paying attention to people talking about it, you know that one of the biggest issues we have with Twitter is that Elon Musk doesn't understand how things work and is most likely trying to sink the company. Like, I fully believe that he is doing everything he can to ruin Twitter because he didn't want to buy it, but also didn't want to deal with a lawsuit to make him buy it, and he would just like it to go away so he can declare bankruptcy. That is my opinion, because I think he is both terrible at being a boss and running a company, and also trying to sink said company. I think both can be true. Now, we're going to talk about, luckily, Vox has been doing a collection of article of all of the flip-flops, all of the times that he has changed his mind in the course of being the person in charge of this company. Now, is this a comprehensive list? It pretty much is. Does it include every bad decision he's made? No, because some of his bad decisions he hasn't changed his mind about. So we can't talk about those. And I will just say before we get into this list, the biggest bad decision he's made is He's not in favor of work from home. He wants people to work out of an office. And he has basically said, you will work in an office or you won't work here. Now, beyond the fact that the pandemic isn't over, some people are hired to work remotely anyway. Some of his employees have never worked in an office and just worked from home, and it was not a problem. In Ireland, he may lose 80% of employees of Twitter because there is, and this is something I didn't know, but of course I don't have employees in Ireland. There's a housing shortage in Dublin. And very few of the Irish employees of Twitter live in Dublin because there's a housing shortage. So the office is in Dublin, but the employees are all over Ireland. And even if it was possible to move in a weekend to a different city, there are no places for them to live in said city. So that he has not reversed his course on you need to come into the office or you don't think that you work here. He has not reversed course on that, although one would assume that it will happen. If you want to find those tweets and retweet them, that's the thing that apparently works the most for him. So we're going to go through the flip-flops of Musk. So when in the 3 months where he made his bid, and then about 3 months later, he changed his mind. And he was like, well, they're not giving me the proper data I need about fake accounts, which they were like, yes, we are. So he was like, I don't want to do this. And of course, because he had bought a bunch of stock and then was like, hey, I want to buy you. Here's my price based on the stock that I've purchased. And they were like, yeah, sure. And he was like, wait. Oh, wait, actually. And then he tried to get out of it. And then 3 months later, done deal. He was like, okay, actually, yes, sure. And then also a side flip-flop. Oh, we're almost done with these stickers. There are 2 more that are, I believe are weapon stickers and 1 shield sticker. But we can at least get this assembled. Anyway, okay, what are the other things? When he became the largest shareholder of Twitter, they were like, hey, join the board of directors. And he was like, I will do that. And then he was like, I don't want to do that. And I honestly think that this is my opinion. This is conjecture on my part. This is not cold, hard facts. I think he thought they were going to fight him. I think he thought Twitter was like not going to want him to do this, and he could have gotten out of it by claiming that they, were trying to stop him at every turn or whatever, and that they did it, but they wanted him to buy it because some of them wanted out. Not everybody, but some people wanted to go and were happy to sell it to him. And I think he was unprepared for that fact. Okay, then we got Twitter Blue. One of his big ways of making money is to upgrade Twitter Blue. Twitter Blue, you pay money, you get edit button, you get a bunch of other things. He's like, no, you're verified. You're going to be a better verified. And also, someday down the road, folks, anyone who's verified the old way, well, first of all, the old way's gone. You can't do it the old way. There's only the new way. And also, eventually, you're going to have to pay too, or you lose it. And then people were like, what? He's like, yeah, I got to do this because I'm losing money. We'll get to losing money in the future and why there's suddenly such big losses in Twitter. Anyway, this was his big idea because he was like, well, people will pay money and they'll be just like the celebrities. And of course, that is upset a lot of people, and then they dunked on him because originally it was going to be $20 a month, not the $8. I keep saying $8. Originally it was $20, and he dropped it down to $8 as if that was like people were going to be like, oh, well, $8. Now, have people paid money? Yes, some people have. Have other people just left the site? Yes. Also, we should mention Twitter's doing better than it's been before, and that is apparently a bit of pride for Elon Musk. He's very happy that the amount of use on Twitter is actually going up, even with people leaving. I should note at this point that those people are excited about watching the website crash and burn. These are not advertisers, because advertisers are pausing or leaving. They're busting out as fast as possible because part of Twitter Blue is you could just have a check mark and pretend to be a company or a person, and then you can just make that company lose a bunch of money, and then one would assume that company will eventually sue Elon Musk or sue Twitter. Do we know for a fact that these companies are going to sue Twitter? No, we don't know that for a fact. Do I think that some of these companies are going to sue Twitter? I absolutely do. Damn, this piece fell off or popped off, and that ain't good. I do believe that there will be a lawsuit against Twitter, and not like the person that spent $8 to make a fake account. Let's see. Check marks. They upgraded. They did the official thing. They took away. Now, Blue is completely suspended. You can't do it on iOS because of impersonations, because of course it is. And we still don't know if the check marks are going to continue. We still actually don't know that. That is still a thing that we don't know if... I don't know if my check mark's ever going to go away because I'm not going to pay money for it. Doesn't make any sense for me to do that. Especially with everything that's going on here. I just can't believe that it'll ever work out. Oh, I forgot to add a couple pieces here. One piece. I need to put it on here. I was like, this doesn't look right, because it wasn't. Now we're going to be body complete on this kit. Other things I can talk about here. Oh, the gray check marks. So the idea was that they were going to change. There were going to be like, there's going to be like the check mark everyone has, and then the check mark that only new people have. Because right now you have to like hover over the check to see which check it is, which is nonsense. But that went away. The official tag, that went away. He basically like killed it with like a response to someone else. That's how we found out. And then it's like, no, gray checks are coming back, but only for advertisers. Not companies, advertisers that are our companies. He fired a lot of people, and then they're now trying to rehire some of those people because they fired too many people in certain departments because they had... he had basically like coders, like reviewing code, and if you had it like the amount of code that you've like, basically if you haven't put a lot of code in, then you're fired because you're not working hard. Now it could be that you haven't put a lot of code in because what you're working on is difficult or impossible to do, like a long running job that takes like a lot of effort to do, that you can't just like flip a switch on. Maybe that's why it would take a while to do. And yeah, so a lot of good people went. Code is a mess. Private Twitter accounts sometimes show up on mobile, and you can retweet those, which you should not be able to do. There is a lot of just like complete and other nonsense going on there that is real bad for people. Just real bad. But yeah, so some people are getting hired back, and some people were laid off by mistake. Also, everyone was told they would find out the next day if they were laid off or not. But then almost everyone who got laid off just that night lost access to their Slack and emails because they were emailed at their personal email. So people kind of fucking figured it out, my dude, like pretty much immediately. Uh, let's see other things. Oh, parody account. So he was just like, um, he was like, comedy is now legal on Twitter. Now, what he meant by that was, you can't get mad at me for being an asshole. That's all it means, because that's his idea of comedy, is being mean. Because a bunch of people use their check marks to change their username and their display name, or this user photo and display name, to Elon Musk, including Rich Sommer, Kathy Griffin, Griffin Newman, a bunch of people changed their name and then got completely kicked off the platform. Um, and then, so basically, one of the ways they went to prevent that was you couldn't change your verified accounts for a while, could not change their display name. So my display name was didn't pay for the check mark. And I wanted to change it to soon PAX Unplugged, because I will be in PAX Unplugged soon, and that is a nice way to let people know that and, start promoting that I'm going to be there. And I couldn't do that for a little while. I believe now it worked again. A fun example was Doja Cat that had it had Christmas in her name, and she was like, "Hey, Elon, I don't want to be Christmas forever." And then when it got quote unquote fixed, she changed it to Elon Musk for a little while. Now it says fart. She didn't keep it as Elon Musk that long, but that was still very funny. That as soon as it was changed back, she just changed the name to fart. And then he's just like deleting tweets because he's just like, because advertisers are freaking out. Oh, part of the reason why advertisers are freaking out is they were freaking out when he was assuming that it was assumed that he was going to actually buy the company. And then he went to like this like advertisers meeting where they decide a lot of the advertising money they're going to spend next year with a lot of their like liked advertisers. And people were like, well, we're freaked out. What are your plans? And he didn't have any. He didn't have any answers. He's like, how are you going to build up confidence in the brand? And he didn't have any answers. And then so people were like, oh, well, we're not spending any money. And then also his marketing people left. He retweeted the head of data security that had said something nice about like the team that was working there. And then like 2 hours later, that person left their jobs. It's a whole fucking thing. Let's see. Lots of people left. Nonsense things like he tweeted at Hillary Clinton, just like a complete nonsense thing. And yeah, like I said, we haven't even gotten into like the weird promises he's made. The meeting, all hands meeting, where he was basically like, "Hey, if you're not, hey, look, it's your business if you don't want to be hardcore about this, but everyone's gonna have to work really hard to keep this company afloat." But he's basically just like, we could end up in bankruptcy because of the money issues. Now, are a lot of the money issues caused by him buying the company? Yes. Is he also going to be fucking sued? Oh, 100%. I haven't even mentioned the FEC filings, the issues that the company was already facing before he got there. The major changes that he's been making without a security team, without people testing, which is why there's all these holes in Twitter. All of that stuff he's legally not allowed to do. And people have been telling him. He tried to fight the first layoffs he tried to do really quickly with no notice because he wanted to make sure this sticker is so big and it is almost impossible for me to line this up properly. So hold on. So one of the first things that happened was that he tried to lay off people before bonuses went in. And he was like, well, you're going to get sued if you do that. And he was like, it's fine. I'm used to being sued. But then people were like, okay, well, I like this. So he tells all the heads of departments, figure out lists of who needs to get fired and who should be laid off. And, you know, if the lists aren't big enough, then we'll start doing it. And they come back. And so everybody, instead of doing that, just goes, hey, here's how much money you're going to lose if all of these lawsuits go through. And so he's like, all right, fine, we'll wait. And we'll give them like proper notice of being laid off. And then, people just got laid off by mistake. People have been, they've tried to hire some of those people back because they suddenly realize they don't have people in a particular department. Everyone in Africa who works for Twitter has been laid off. They just completely laid off an entire country's employees. It is a fucking mess. It's only going to get worse. It is a bummer for artists and comedy people and actors and voice actors who marginalized people. Let's fucking be real about this. Like, obviously, I have benefited from Twitter. Twitter allowed me to make friends in the games industry that allowed me to do work with them. I was friends with Giant Bomb folks. I would have hung out with them at PAX. But my harmonics friends were like, because I was friends with Giant Bomb people and funny on Twitter and nice on Twitter and not weird on Twitter, that I became friends with the harmonics folks, which opened the door for me to do other cool shit. Pope and I had talked on Twitter, so when he came to UCB on a random Saturday, I felt comfortable going up and going, hey, I'm Pat, we follow each other on Twitter. And he was like, oh, hey. And it has been incredibly beneficial for me and what I do. But I can't compare that to, like, comic book artists who have done covers, who got work because of retweets of cool fan art they did or other jobs they did, that doors open to them. My friend Kevin Wada, his work, part of his work is just awesome art he did on Twitter and Tumblr that a friend of mine found on Twitter, commissioned him to do some art for his husband's Christmas present. A high-ranking member of Marvel at the time was over in the new year, saw the art and said, who did this? And then Kevin started doing Marvel covers. And like, he would have gotten there eventually, maybe, but directly because of Twitter, like, it just, he jumped a bunch of steps. And that is true for a lot of people. That Twitter is irreplaceable because it is a town hall. It is a community gathering spot. It is different from blogging. It is not the same thing as Tumblr or co-host or even Facebook. Because it is, you just follow people and they don't have to know you or follow you, and you can just put out cool shit, and then you can chronologically see their other shit if you want to dig deeper. It just allows for people to, like, I mean, the amount of, like, critics who were writing on Medium or wherever, or working on small websites, and then somebody else took notice and retweeted, and they got work in journalism. It's kind of remarkable how many people, like, did well for themselves because of this very poorly run website that was not great before he bought it. It was not incredible, but it was something. Hey, Mr. Bob. We tried to go bowling, but now I have a Reuben sandwich. Okay. I hope the Reuben sandwich is great. I'm glad you're here, Mr. Bob. Welcome. Lashbrook says, I was really not expecting this to implode this fast. So that's why I do think that he is trying to declare bankruptcy on Twitter. I think he's trying to run it into the ground. I think he's not good at his job. But I also I think both can be true. That he's not good at his job, and he's also trying to, prop up this, purposely tank the company, to get out of his debts, because there's not going to be a government handout for Twitter. There's not going to be, he can say, he claims ownership on a lot of companies that he just, invested in and then took over and then kicked out the other people involved. So he's been able to say that for a lot of companies, that things are in a better spot because of me. He can't really say that about Twitter, but also he'll probably just say, oh, Twitter was in poor shape when I paid an obscene amount of money for it. Twitter was doing so bad that he had to borrow billions in order to purchase it. That's how bad Twitter was doing, was that he spent a lot of money to buy it? ? Complete nonsense. I've talked way too much about Elon Musk, but I wanted to dunk on the man. Also, he reads every tweet making fun of him. I mean, I don't read every tweet that... I block a lot of people that find me, generally because I have someone more well-known than me has retweeted me most of the time. But I don't even read all of my negative stuff, and I try to, engage with people in good faith. But Elon Musk definitely reads the tweets that people, the insults that people make about him and his previous failed marriage, and his many children that he's had with many different people, which is, look, multiple partners, marriages don't work out. Yeah, no problem. The fact that most of his kids hate him, and want nothing to do with him. Just a lot's going on with this particular person. Enough people told him he's like a real Tony Stark that he believed it, and that's the thing I can say about Elon Musk, is that a lot of people think that he's Tony Stark, and he started to believe them, but he's not. He's not at all. I have said this on stream before, that he is a person that has made meticulous plans in order to win and to outsmart people, and he still cannot comprehend that plans like that don't work, that grand gestures like that don't actually work on people. People are people. And he is still unable to comprehend that, which is... It's rough because he's ruining a thing that I have depended on. And I don't want to... Folks, I am enjoying co-host, and I'm posting on co-host, and I like the format of co-host. And I have a Mastodon thing on social, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. I don't want to use Mastodon because I don't think it's an interesting interface. I don't enjoy Mastodon. I will say this: I don't want to subscribe to newsletters. I don't want emails. I don't want emails. I want emails from Patreon that I can ignore. You know what? I don't actually care what Nextlander's schedule is for the next week. I will either tune into a stream or I won't. I never read what's going on this week at Nextlander. I never do. Because that's like a newsletter to me, and I don't care about that. I will go on Patreon and see what the people that I support on Patreon are saying, but I just don't want to... Hey, how about this? How about somebody comes up with a website that will put in all of the newsletters into a website when they get posted in chronological order, and I'll follow the ones that I want to follow. Can we just have that? Because that would be great. The Twitter alternatives are shit. It's probably one of the weird pillars that prop up that site. So, the newsletter element. Look, I like co-host. Co-host Co-host is Tumblr run by 3 communists that are not going to take VC money. Fucking rules. Co-host is like they're about to hire a 4th person. Co-host is like a cool, weird little project, and like the updates are good, and the vibe is right, and I like it because I can check it every couple hours and see some new cool stuff. And also, they're not gonna if you want to use it to advertise your adult content, they are okay with that, and that's cool. I like that. But all right, let me get a sword going here, and let's get the sword gun part up. Let's get that sword ready. All right, this kit is done. I'm going to take a photo of it because we have completed this kit. Let's put the little small blade there. But yeah, this kit is done. We have finished the Gundam Exia Repair 2. Anyway, I don't think co-host is going to replace like Twitter. And I don't think Mastodon's going to do it because Mastodon is not like Mastodon is made by people who want it to be complicated, in my opinion. Like they go, okay, is this tough for people to understand? Good. Like that is my impression. That is my belief in Mastodon. It's made by people that think that some versions of Linux are too user-friendly. That's my big belief in that. That is Mastodon. I have muted the term Mastodon, and then I also muted somebody who every day posts about the Mastodon instance or server that they run. Every day. Just being like, hey, if you're in the video games, people, blah, 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 here's my Mastodon. It's just like, shut the fuck up. He doesn't say Mastodon anymore. So the mutes don't go through. He just links to it. And he's like, I got a server. Like, he's learned that people are muting the term Mastodon. And, like, it's a person that otherwise I enjoy their Twitter presence. Except for the part where they keep trying to get me to join their Mastodon server, which I don't want to do. All right, we finished that kit. It's time to move on. We got to do some Lego here. So we got the race car, the Street Racer 3-in-1. I'll show you these real quick. Other things we're doing here. We've got the hot rod. We've got the actual, the biggest one, the one we'll do last, the one that's going to use all the parts, the Street Racer, and then we have the just like race car. And we're going to start with the hot rod because I think that's cool. I think the hot rod is sweet looking. I think all of them are cool. I think this is like neat looking here, but this one is the one that I was like, ooh, top down. So I think we're going to start with that. But before we do that, we have to null. I opened the bags. They're all here in the box. We just got to null parts. I'm just going to null by color, and then I will do, like, the fancy, like, putting, like, pieces like this, so that I can find them easier. But I'm just going to start pushing pieces around by color here, just to get, to make my life easier. So we'll do that. And while I'm doing the nulling, we have a sad thing to talk about. We have to do this. This is we talk about anime and we talk about video games and we talk, we get into real stuff now and again. Let's talk about the passing of Kevin Conroy at age 66. Gone too soon. Hey, Lord Crashington. The weird time to be like, hey, Lord Crashington. We're talking about the death of a beloved actor, voice talent, humanitarian. By all accounts, one of the best of us, he was your Batman, probably. Statistically, he was your Batman. Knowing the age range, and US focused, viewers that I have, if you were watching cartoons in the 90s, He was the voice of Batman for you in the years where the Batman movies had come and gone and the new ones weren't coming. He was your Batman. Lord Crashton says my Batman was George Clooney. Yes. So I have 3 Batman. Batmen, I should say. Batmans. I have 3 Batmans. I have Adam West because I watched reruns of the Batman show. And so that was the first Batman I ever had. And then Michael Keaton is my first movie Batman because he was the Batman. Now, could you argue, Pat, Michael Keaton was your first Bruce Wayne? Because his Batman wasn't that great, but his Bruce Wayne was really interesting. Yeah, I'll hear that argument. I'll certainly hear that argument. But it is said, my first Batman, my first movie Batman, and to me, the best of the Batmen, even taking in Christian Bale, my favorite Batman is still Michael Keaton because he brings such a human role to it, and the movies are just fucking fantastic, both movies. So to me, that's Batman. But really, when I really think about it, when I really, really feel it, it's Kevin Conroy. He's Batman. He's the voice of Batman in the Arkham games and in many, many cartoons. And he was apparently fucking delightful. He was beloved by people in the industry. He was beloved by people who work in the industry, not as voice talent, but as audio engineers and writers. Loved him. People who worked behind the scenes loved him. Low Crashton says, mine's probably just Christian Bale, and Conroy was my game Batman. Never really saw the animated series. So, I don't know if all of Batman the Animated Series holds up. There are some incredible episodes. There are guides out there. You can find guides to find the best episodes. I would say if you really want, like, Justice League and the sequel Justice League Unlimited are probably the best. Some of my favorite episodes. When I talk about my favorite Batman episodes, a lot of them are Justice League Unlimited because Batman is the conscience of the Justice League, and he really shines in there. You know what does hold up? Batman Beyond, says Last Rock. I do not doubt, because Batman Beyond had incredible writers on it, and also it allowed, because you got to see Bruce Wayne as an old man. Also, there's an episode of Justice League Unlimited that is basically the epilogue to Batman Beyond and is fucking fantastic. It basically, like, maybe retcons a Batman Beyond a bit, but also, if you don't think it's a retcon, Last Break says we don't talk about that one. I do talk about that one. Because, to me, you did see some Justice League on Cartoon Network. Nice, yeah. Justice League Unlimited, I think, is fantastic because it revisits some greatest hits of a lot of the shows and, like, does some minor moments. It gives some characters that never really got a chance to shine their moment in the sun, which is, I think, really important to do. And it's just overall a really solid bunch of episodes of television, and totally worth taking a look-see. But anyway, beloved by people that worked with him and opposite him and behind the scenes, is just fantastic. He volunteered to feed firefighters in the days after 9/11. Volunteered a lot. Wrote last year. Wrote an autobiographical comic that is available for free on DC's website about being gay. And so there is a plethora of queer kids and queer teens and queer adults that found an ally and a mentor and an aspiration in Batman of all people. Um, but because uh, it was Kevin Conroy. Just like the number of answering machine messages, in the voice to like just people. So many good convention stories people have of just like meeting him and talking to him. Here's a thing that Kevin Conroy used to do when not everyone recognized him at some conventions. That sometimes during breaks, he would just go to Artist Alley and he would just buy Batman stuff that was clearly, from the animated series or the Arkham games. He would buy like people's art that they had created, and he would talk in his normal voice, and then just as he was going to leave, he would do the Batman voice and then walk away. And that's just a thing that Kevin Conroy liked to do, and I don't know how to. It's like, I don't know. Just seemed like a beautiful man, and it is a real shame that he's gone. I had a couple friends take photos from like the Warner Brothers lot, thinking about how much time he spent there and how they wish they had gotten to work with him. Just, I don't know. It touched me. Yes, he did kitchen work for firefighters and service people in the days after 9/11, because that was something he didn't know how to help, and that was something he could do. And it is, yeah. And it was just, like I said, I watched that show religiously, the animated series. I mean, I watched the Superman show, which I didn't like as much because I never really loved Superman. But I watched that because Batman was in that show a lot. And then when it was the New Adventures of Batman and Superman, when they like brought where they brought Batman back, and it was like most episodes, and they were like 2 or 3 part episodes and featured them and like their Rose Galleries mixed up, and it was just like fucking kicked ass. And that led to Justice League, and which led to Justice League Unlimited. And then there was the Future Time stuff. And Batman Beyond, and just like all kinds of cool shit that he did with that voice. A bunch of the movies, and again, as I said, the Arkham games. I think I wouldn't care about Batman as much if it weren't for the Batman the animated series. Yeah. Also, that art style that the studio did. Without that, I don't know if we would have had the Big O, which is the background folks, the Japanese studio that was working on that series, and doing Bruce Timm's like style. Also did the Big O, which is an incredibly fantastic mecha show. If I need to bring it back into mobile suit stuff and mecha, I can say that. We don't have the Big O without Batman the Animated Series. But yeah. There are people that hit you harder than others. There are some that you are like I'll say this. A couple of my friends have said this, and I think that is fine. I haven't thought about Gallagher I hadn't thought about Gallagher in years until Paul F. Tompkins played him in the Weird Al biopic. And I think that there are many generations of people that found out that Gallagher was alive up until he died yesterday, that did not know that he was still alive. And that is someone that, like, older generations certainly were more aware of and maybe feel bad about. And I am not telling you who to and who not to feel weird or sad or have your feelings about. But I will say that, for me anyway, I was just like, okay. And then Kevin Conroy, and I was like, oh, I'm going to need some time to think. I'm going to go find a clip of Am I Blue, the episode from Justice League Unlimited, where in order to get Diana, Wonder Woman, turned back into a human, because she's a pig at the moment, he has to do something for the first time in front of people, go out on a limb, embarrass it, put himself out, or go out of his comfort zone, do all these things. And the answer he does is he sings at like a nightclub, this like slow, sad song. And apparently, several years ago, the webmasters of his official website uploaded the full audio, because it's a short little clip. They uploaded the full 2 minutes that he sang. And then people have put that on YouTube. So I was able to just listen to the whole song, which is just really nice. But I want to go track that down because it definitely hit me. I think Paul said others didn't. Yes, Paul F. Tompkins said that when he went to go give Jack Black a hug, Jack Black clearly didn't recognize him. He did not know who was Gallagher. He recognized there was Gallagher. There was someone playing Gallagher. But yes, Jack Black, who was playing Wolfman Jack, which is great casting, did not recognize him in his getup. Anyway, Kevin Conroy fucking ruled and continues to rule. And I was definitely bummed out about that more than I thought I would be about someone who I have never met. Because also, hey, let's be real about this. You don't have to meet them to have an effect on your life. There are people who you don't have to have ever. You could just like what they do, and it can have an effect on you and who you are, and then their exit from this world can definitely hit you. You don't have to have a personal anecdote about them for them to mean something to you. Sometimes it's nice to have those little anecdotes, but you don't need them. They can just touch your heart. We'll take a pause for the cause in a moment here, which is a little bit. I'll talk about ways you can support the channel. Quick hit. I'm going to talk. I can't jump into promoting myself after that, so instead I'm going to get mad about wrestling for like a minute. I'm going to get psyched about wrestling and then mad about wrestling. Use Twitter while you can to let people know you enjoy the things they make. Yes, if there are people who you don't know another way to find them on the internet right now, or you don't want to sign up for their newsletter, just tweet at them and let them know you like what they do. Especially if they're gonna like pretend to be Elon Musk and they get taken off. I had to email my buddy Rich, and I did not know if I had a valid email for him. Turns out we're still Facebook friends, so I sent him a Facebook message just being like, "Hey, that was fun. Twitter's still here. That was fun." All right, yeah, I'm gonna be excited about one thing and then mad about one thing in wrestling. We'll do that real quick. Yes, you do. Yes, basically, you're now it's pay to play. You got to pay money to make the good jokes on Twitter.com. All right, so next Rampage. This is not going to be on the pay-per-view. This is going to be on the night before the pay-per-view. Because next Saturday is Full Gear. The Rampage is the night before, Friday. This coming Friday, which will be a live event in New Jersey, we are going to see a tag match between Eddie Kingston and Ortiz, taking on, from DDT Wrestling, Konosuke Takeshita, who we've seen on AEW before, and Jun Akiyama. Jun Akiyama, who is in DDT as an old man, who was in All Japan during the Pillar era. Jun Akiyama is on Eddie Kingston's short list of All Japan wrestlers that he wants to wrestle. And I think that Eddie's going to break character because Eddie Kingston right now has a gimmick where he is, he's just like on edge and he's like losing control and he's attacking people after the match. I think he's going to break character for this show, and we're not going to see any of that, and it'll end with him like shaking hands or trying to give respect. Eddie Kingston doesn't have a good storyline in wrestling. Isn't going to win a belt in AEW anytime soon, but does get to have dream matches. His dream matches, and that is fucking incredible. Also, Jun Akiyama is going to be a wrestle on AEW on the B. It's happening on the B show, everybody. Because they're trying not to make it the clear B show. They're trying to make it the other A show. It's still the B show. But, like, that's wild. If you're not really well-versed in... We're going to watch a Jun Akiyama match on Tuesday to prep for this. We're going to see at least one Jun Akiyama All Japan Pro Wrestling match. Maybe a Noah match, but probably more likely Wrestling Noah. We're going to watch something from All Japan, 90s All Japan. He's one of the hard-hitting Japanese men. The old-school hard-hitting Japanese men that suplexed you on your head, seemingly. And then you would and bounce back up when it happened to him. We're going to watch somebody who's my age wrestle one of his heroes. And it's going to be great. And then Takeshita, who's a young gun, who is doing great things, he is like the face of DDT. They're putting a lot of effort behind him, but at some point he's going to get signed he's going to move to America and get signed. Like it's definitely happening. And Ortiz is getting to do some good stuff. And he's happy with that. But holy shit. It's going to be real good. And then real quick, we're going to take a pause for the cause, then we're going to talk about some anime, and I'm going to start building some Lego. Sarah Logan is back. Sarah Logan of the Riot Squad, who was released in 2020 or 2021, I can't remember, and then came back for this year's Royal Rumble, but then left again, is back. Her real-life husband, who is a wrestler, is in the Viking Raiders, and she has come back as a Viking. They're really into Viking shit. She's been doing some voiceover of their like reintroduction as the Viking Raiders, and she's back. And she's wearing the Viking leather and fake animal fur and all that. But from her forehead up is painted black, and her hair is pulled back, and her dreads are pulled back. And it's reminiscent, certainly, of modern interpretations of what some battle women and men dress like. What they believe, what some people's modern interpretation of that era of Viking, the kind of Viking would wear. But you know what it actually is? It's basically 100% Max the Impaler, an unbelievably non-binary wrestler who is currently tearing it up in Japan. Max the Impaler is incredible, scary presence, reportedly a sweetheart. It's just Max the Impaler. It's just MAGA. It's because Sarah's just asking questions. Sarah's clearly a fucking Trumper. Sarah Logan is just like dressed as Max the Impaler. And you're like, well, wrestlers steal from one another all the time. Sting was just stealing from the Crow, and people borrow from each other all the time. But there is a big fucking difference in my mind. We'll go to the overhead. We'll go back here. We're going to do an ad break now that I'm done being mad in a second. There's a big difference between, oh, you're doing that at that company? I'm doing that over here. Or, oh, I'm just fucking the lead character from Scarface. There's a big difference between that and, oh, an indie wrestler, this is their gimmick. It's my gimmick now. There's a big difference between someone on WWE, because now there will be people that will go to indie shows and will go, Max the Impaler, oh, that's a Sarah Logan ripoff. because they don't know Max. And it sucks. Better fucking see Sarah Logan with a slightly different look real fucking soon. It sucks. Indies steal from the main shows. The main shows don't steal. They can't steal from the indies because there's a power dynamic there. It sucks. Anyway, hi, I'm Pat Baer, and when I'm not ranting and being mad at bullshit, I build model kits and Lego sets. If you're currently a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego to the site, the emote in the chat, or if you have the tier 2, if you're a Arista fan, you get the blue emote. Throw those emotes in there. Let people know that you are a subscriber, because that's the easiest way to support what I do here, because it's with your generous help on various ways that I am able to do what I'm doing right now, which is build a cool Lego set and also be mad at a professional wrestler for stealing shit. If you're saying, Pat, well, I could be like Jam, I guess, and I could use my Prime Gaming token, because I have Amazon Prime linked with my Twitch, and I could just subscribe that way. That would be great if you wanted to do that. Or if you wanted to use Cash Money, you could subscribe. If you wanted to gift a sub to somebody in the community right now, you could be like Firestar Man and Lord Crashton and Aristovan who gifted subs. You could do that too. We love to see gifted subs here in the community. You could do that. Bits and coins also appreciated. They're always appreciated. No one has cheered this month. If you want to cheer, you could do that. And there are other ways to support me, and I'll talk about those, and then we'll get back to building. But I do want to just quickly chat about ways you can support what I do here before we get into talking about anime and working on a model kit. Patreon.com/PatBaer, $1, $3, $5, and $10 tiers. Different rewards for the different tiers. Take a look at it. See if there's a reward tier for you over on Patreon. And remember, just like me, you can turn notifications off so you don't get emails. And you just have to check Patreon at your leisure. Or you can get some of them turned off. Let's see. So that's Patreon. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBaer. Subscribe if you haven't already. And then if you're feeling like you want to support me on a monthly basis for $2 a month, you could join my YouTube channel and become a member there. And then every Tuesday, you'll get a message in there that's my Wednesday video. But you get it on Tuesday. You get a day early. I have not recorded next week's Do You Remembaer yet, but I'll find something good to talk about. This most recent one I'll talk about in a little bit. And then if monthly does not do it for you, but you want to help me out here so that I can buy model kits and such, you can always do a direct donation through PayPal or through Coffee or through Stream Elements. Every time I get donated to those ways during the streams, I know is you saying, hey, buy a model kit. Because everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, which also includes AdSense, so watch my videos if you want to help me out with there, through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and I take money out of that fund, and I buy model kits. The Exia Repair 2 that I just finished tonight, the Exia Repair 2 right here, I was able to purchase that with your help for funds. I have a horse stand because I have the God Gundam back there, and there's a horse, the Shin Funsanaki horse is coming in the mail. That will arrive on Monday. I have a fucking horse model kit, a unicorn model kit that I will put that God Gundam on. That I was able to pre-order that with your generous support. But that's not the only way to support me. Now, you might know this. This Lego set that I'm currently starting, the 3-in-1 Street Racer set, was purchased by an anonymous person off my Amazon wish list. So if you would also like me to not work on that horse or anything else in my backlog because I have to build the things that you purchase, you could buy something from my Amazon wish list and I'll shoot a video about it and then it jumps the queue. So I do like a, hey, this arrived, thank you so much, like mailbag video. I have Lego sets, model kits on there, inexpensive kits, expensive kits, kits that never go on sale, kits that have free Prime shipping, kits that are wildly expensive, nonsensically. Ooh, one that just dropped a little bit. It's now under $40. The from Gundam Age mobile suit there. The G Fios. I don't know how to say the name of that kit. I will learn. Inexpensive kits, expensive kits. kits with free shipping, gear at the bottom. There's a bunch of stuff there. If there's something you think that I would benefit from, or you just like to see me build, you could buy something there if you wanted to. I have an alternative to that, which is my Throne wish list. If you want to buy something from there, that's a more curated list. There's a lot of gift cards. If you're like, Pat, I don't know any of these model kits. I don't know, but I can buy you a gift card. You could do that. And then also, you could buy a gift card to USA Gundam Store. I buy a lot of stuff from USA Gundam Store because they're located in Florida, which is not far from me, and they get a lot of shipments and stuff in. So you could buy a gift card there, send me the gift card code, DM me on Twitter while that's still a thing, or send me a whisper here on Twitch. Those are ways to financially support me. If you want to help me out for free, join my Discord. I post build photos. People post stuff they're working on. Sometimes people post just like things they think I would like to see in the general chat, and that's nice. I got a couple of videos for you to watch, and then I will get into more of this. And just a reminder, you don't have to watch them now, but maybe you could watch them later if you wanted to watch these later. Sorry, let me just... Okay, here are the two video things that I think you should check out. The first one is Pat Baer's Anime Club, where I recommend anime that's new for this season that none of the ones I recommended are isekais. And in fact, one of the shows I'm watching today are isekai. But yeah, so isekai free recommendations, because I talk a lot about isekai because I watch a lot of them. And some people don't care about that subgenre. And then Pat Baer's, Do You Remembaer? That's what I was trying to say. Do You Remembaer, an ongoing video series where every week I hastily research a topic and then shoot a video about that, where I try to say everything I can remember from their Wikipedia page. I talked about the real life person that served as a senator, Lewis P. Featherstone. The P is short for Porter. Lewis Porter Featherstone, a name that I will be using at some point in some sort of pen and paper role-playing game. I promise. I think it is. I think it will be cool when I use that name. But yeah, if you want to learn about the real life person known as Lewis P. Featherstone, you could check that out, because I think it's pretty fun. Okay, what do we got here? Hello, welcome, Carrot. All right, we have now talked enough about me promoting myself. We're gonna get back to model kit building. I am gonna talk about some anime that I watched, and I am going to work on this Lego set. But first, I'm gonna drink some water dramatically. All right, we are going to work on the hot rod. We'll get that started here. If you are unfamiliar with Lego 3-in-1s, basically you get 3 instruction books. There are 3 things that you can make with it. You can't make all 3 at once. So we will build the hot rod, then disassemble the hot rod, then build the race car, then disassemble the race car. Then build the street racer, which is the main one. And we will not use every part for every car. The street racer will probably use almost every part, but the other ones we won't have to use like all of them. And yeah, we'll just go along and put this together, and we'll talk about stuff while I build Lego. And I will miss a piece here and there and have to like figure that out, but it's Lego, so it's easy to undo. I saw that one of the new members of Congress might be the first Kingdom Hearts fan in congressional history. Yes, I do believe that we definitely don't have our first gamer, because you may remember that there was a senator that used funds to buy Steam games. That happened. So it's definitely not the first like modern gamer, but it is the first person we know who loved Kingdom Hearts, openly loves Kingdom Hearts. We have learned that. You're right. Carrot built their first Gundam today. That's excellent. That's awesome. It is. We just finished up a model kit earlier in the stream. We finished the Gundam Exia Repair 2 from 2009, which was a fun build. The Exia and the Double O are not necessarily my favorite kits in the world, but they do look cool. I was happy with how it came out. That was a fun kit to do, but now we're moving over to doing some Lego. Yes, AOC has talked about having game systems. I mean, look, there have been, I believe, members of the House of Representatives that have been. There were like two dudes that, because they're always, of course, that apparently like got back into World of Warcraft while they were freshman Congress people. Like they like met and like were getting to know one another. And realized they both had been WoW people. I don't know. Maybe you're thinking of like, I mean, there's a bunch of monitor brands out there. It might be AOC, might be a monitor brand. We are speaking of the senator from the great state of New York when we're talking about AOC. But I do believe. That might be possible. That is monitor brand. I don't know, but yes, there were two members of the House of Representatives got back into World of Warcraft after becoming friends. That they both decided they wanted to get back into it while they were members of the House, which is a thing. Anyway, it is time, friends. It's time to talk about what anime I watched since the last time I streamed, which was on Thursday. All 4 of these shows are Saturday releases. I will give my brief overview of the episode or episodes I watched because I am not caught up with Bocchi the Rock, but I did watch episodes 2 and 3. I'm actually up to episode 4, through episode 4. And that's where I have stopped watching so far. I do have plans to go back, but that's as far as I've gotten. But I can tell you a bit about episodes 2 and 3 because I am going to continue to watch Bocchi the Rock, the story of a girl who wanted to have a good high school experience. So she got really into learning how to play guitar. But being good at guitar doesn't help you when you are still incredibly socially awkward. And also you're okay at... you're okay at playing guitar, but not really in front of an audience, which happened in the first episode of Bocchi the Rock. This episode, they got to sell more tickets to when they perform because they did not make money when they were there, and they end up working at the club. And Bocchi is, Hitori is not good at being a server. And tries to make herself sick so she doesn't have to go, but still is fine, and then doesn't get sick until after because of all of the adrenaline wearing off. She does okay, though, which is good. Good for her. Also, she gets inspired because there's another band playing, and she's just like, oh, hell yeah. This is what I want to do. I got into music to, like, have something to talk to people about, but performing is very cool, so I guess I'm going to keep trying to do that, which is nice. And the next episode is her trying to invite a classmate who can play as well and can sing, because they need a vocalist. What is her name? Ikio. So it's her trying to like, hey... what if you did this? And Ikio's like, well, I want to learn guitar because I want to get closer to another classmate. Turns out that's a member of the band. And in fact, Hitori is the person that replaced Ikio, who was the guitarist that like got scared and took off and like abandoned the band. Yikes. but they're like, okay, why don't you try? And we'll see that in the next episode is them being like, look, I know you're freaked out, but you can play, and we need you, so why don't you give it another shot? So that was the 2 episodes there. There is a lot of our main girl just being like, feeling like she's in the wrong place and feeling nervousness and trying to hide away and trying to keep the secret that she is Guitar Hero, the person that has modest success on an website uploading her covers and such, and just like trying to fit in and make friends and just be a person. It is a lovely little series. I'm really enjoying Bocchi the Rock, and I would recommend it if you like slice of lives. Some of it is like very like relatable in the anxiety department and the trying to do things and having it not quite work out as like it was in your head, because pushing yourself to improve yourself without doing any actual work to improve yourself doesn't always work out. So it's maybe a little close to home for some people, and they would maybe have some issues with it. But I think it's a really solid series. So it's Bocchi the Rock. So Pat Baer recommended. Uzaki-Chan wants to hang out season 2. If you missed season 1, you can just start with season 2. We're into the season now. We got stuff going on here. Basically, in the last episode, so we got Hana and Sakurai. Hana and Sakurai are friends. They knew each other in high school. He's got resting bastard face, so he's got like a mean mug that people have like originally. Oh yes, Lashbrook brings up a good point about Bocchi the Rock, that the animation styles, like they're playing fast and loose with the art to generally like portray a vibe or a personal feeling. They are using the medium well, because they could get by with just like, oh yeah, well this is the art, and then also there's music because it's a music show. But they're taking the 4-panel coma comic and the manga and like really taking advantage of the fact that the art can be fluid and jump around and change depending on what they're doing. It's really interesting. Uzaki-Chan wants to hang out is just like a decent enough animated show. I wouldn't say it's like it's a great show animation wise, but it does what it needs to do. And what it needs to do is show that Hana likes Sakurai. Sakurai likes Hana. Sakurai does not understand he actually likes Hana. Hana is convinced that Sakurai likes her, and sometimes can connect the dots that she likes him, but mostly is annoyed that he has not. She is definitely convinced that he likes her, even though he is seemingly unaware of that fact. Anyway, she has realized that he's going to graduate in half a year, and then she will be alone in college. So she has that long, or basically like a year, I should say, about a year she has to force him to confess his feelings. That is what she's going with. It's kind of a step forward, and she's like, all right, here's the thing I'm going to do. I'm going to make him bento, because he'll be overwhelmed with that, which is a very middle school thing to like make your crush bento, like a box lunch, basically. But it works for her, because that's kind of like the level she's at as far as like flirting or whatever. Her family kind of teases, well, half her family is teasing her. The other half also wants her to make bentos, which I think is very funny. But her youngest sister, Yanagi, is like definitely scheming something. Then we see Hana bring the bento, and Sakurai is like very embarrassed, and he's like, he's happy about it. And then she realizes, oh, I'm embarrassed, because she also made her own bento, and they have matching bento, and she doesn't want people to see that, because she'll be even more embarrassed by that. And it's very cute and fun. And Yanagi schemes for a way to finally meet Sakurai. She knows that, like, oh, this, like, senpai of yours, this, that you keep talking about, like, you won't tell me anything about him. You won't bring him over while I'm home. I want to meet this guy. So she finds out where, because she knows that Hana works with Sakurai. So she's like, she finds out from her mom where Hana works and shows up at the coffee shop and gets to meet him. Hana does everything she can to keep Yanagi and Sakurai from meeting and talking to one another. But they do. And, you know, they both like single-player games. So they're starting talking about a game, which is fine. And she's like, and then Yanagi's like, oh, you don't have to call me, like, little sister. You can just call me Yanagi. Which now makes the second member of the family that he calls by their first name, but he refers to Hana as Uzaki by her last name because he thinks it's awkward to do the other way. And that makes her very mad. She's already been mad this season about him doing that with her mom. Because he was like, it's weird to call you Mrs. Uzaki because I call your daughter Uzaki. So now he calls her by her first name, which is still weird. Anyway, this was a good episode. This wasn't my favorite of them. It certainly wasn't wacky, but it was very cute and fun. I liked it. I liked the show a lot. All right. I will tell you that I'm the villainess, so I'm taming the final boss. This really does feel like a story that I don't know if the manga is slower paced than the anime. The anime is very fast paced. The anime feels like they don't think they're going to get a second season, so they're just like getting through it. Because in this episode, we complete the second video game. We are now done with the events of video game number 2. Which is a lot. That's a fast that we're moving in, considering there are 12 episodes this season, and this is episode 8. Moving pretty fast. Now, that could also be the case in the manga. Again, I have not read it. I do not know. But this feels like very quick. This is a story of a girl that died and woke up in a video game. She is the villainess in said video game, and she is trying to prevent her untimely death. By her brilliant idea was, well, all of this comes out because the Demon Lord is half human, half demon. He becomes a full demon dragon and causes all these terrible things to happen. So if I'm not an asshole, if I can convince him to, like, trust people and, like, maybe, you know, like, keep him from turning into a monster, then I won't die. We can prevent the end of the game. And so she did that, but then she's wrapped up in story 2. Now, story 2, the sequel, shouldn't be happening. And there's some weirdness about it. Anyway, Eileen, because one of the weird things is the main character of that game, the new Saintess, there shouldn't be a new Saintess because the old Saintess is still around. And in fact, the Holy Maiden, our main character, the villainess, became the new Holy Maiden. So, like, that shouldn't be possible. So there's a lot of things that didn't add up. But anyway, Eileen has to join the beauty pageant because the winner of the beauty pageant is going to get this prize that has demon incense in it, which will turn James, the supposed villain of the second video game, into a demon lord fully. So they get tricked. It still happens. James gets turned into it. It's the fake Saintess. Selena is the girl behind all this. We knew that was happening. James starts taking on his full demonic form, but Eileen, using her powers and her own ability to be a cool lady, is like, no, there's a place for you with me. If you need a place, like, you don't have to do this. Turn back, and she talks him into coming back and not going full, becoming a full demon. And then the Sanctus is like, the fake Sanctus is like, what will kill him? He's still a demon. And they're like, he's a half demon and he's our friend. And what? Why would he listen to you? What are you talking about? But a bunch of demons show up. So Eileen is just like, okay, well, I have the holy sword. I've been a lady this whole time. But, you thought I was a guy. I'm a lady. And I'm the holy maiden. Don't worry about it. And she gets prepared to fight all these demons. But then her fiance shows up. And he's just like, hey, don't worry about it. I got this. I'll drive him off. And that's the end of the second video game, basically. And then we just have some conclusion stuff. She's bringing the student council guys under her wing. She's expanding, so they're going to work for the Demon Lord. The fake Sanctus has been captured because she ran away. And they're trying to figure out, like, she was saying that she was receiving letters. And so, she knew what was happening. And the events that happened couldn't have happened without some outside help. And they're like, okay, Eileen knows what's up. She now knows what's going on. We're kind of ahead of her. We've been ahead of her for a bit. Eileen confronts the original Sanctus, who doesn't have her powers anymore, who's been sending letters to Selena and set all this up. And, oops, this is the wrong colored piece here. And has been posing as the Demon Lord. And it's the original Sanctus. And she's a reincarnation. This is the thing I did not see coming. I was like, oh, the game is the game world is progressing and they're finding a way to do these big events, even if you can try to prevent them. But no. The original Sanctus also is playing the video game and is like, and they have a huge difference of opinion on like the events of it. She's just like, well, it's just a game, and these like, it's like, do you not play video games where a character can die? Who cares? And then she's like, well, we're a character. We're both characters in this game. Anyway, she doesn't have any proof that this is what's happened and that she's responsible. But she's just like, well, if you want to fight, you'll get a fight. So it feels like the next couple episodes are going to be trying to take her down and stop her for good. That is what I assume is what we're getting here. And that is a twist that I did not see coming. There would be multiple people. Usually, like, we had that in the last dating game, Otome game, anime adaptation from last season. We knew that but we knew almost from the very beginning that multiple characters in it were isekai. Like, we knew. Our main character doesn't know that his actual real sister is in the video game as well. But we know that from watching the anime. So that's kind of interesting now that there are two characters that know it. So that, like I said, that's pretty interesting to me. And then we have Spy Family Part 2. We got 2 episodes here. One most of the episode was about here. 2-parter, and then just kind of like a little tale at the end that was cute, and I think most of this is so last episode we met the what was his name, Daybreak, the freelance spy that was like doing stuff and trying to change test scores, and we didn't know why he was doing that, but now we know. George is trying to hurt Damien get him expelled because the Desmond Group like bought his father's company. So this is just like a young person trying to get revenge for his dad. And Anya figures this out. And Anya like stops this attempt of like, oh, this like basically his attempt is like, Damien's a bully and hurt me. But Anya's just like, he fell on his own. I saw the whole thing. I know what's happening. And she's confident because she knows this is a plot. but her confidence, the teacher that like thinks like, oh, what's happening here? Bullying, huh? He didn't witness it, but he has no idea how to respond to. Well, he knows exactly what to do. He's like, this girl is trouble. She is confident and self-serious and a young child. I want nothing to do. This girl is dangerous. Basically, he's just like, oh, yes, he forced his dad's company into bankruptcy. Yes, thank you, Lashbrook. I'd forgotten that part of that. But that was part of his revenge. But it's very fun because it's just like lots of good Anya faces. But Anya is so confident that this teacher's just like, hey, don't drag teachers into your playtime. Bye. It just runs off. George confesses. George Glooman, I believe, is his name. And he's just like, well, I think this is my last day of school. And everyone's like, okay, yeah, well, you fucked up. But then it turns out that his dad managed to keep his job, so he's back the next day, and it's just a fun, weird, like, well, I'm back. It's just a weird little thing. That's most of the episode, and then Yor sends Anya off to school, and then he's like, oh no, Anya left her gym clothes behind. So she's like, I'm gonna go, and you get to see her like race to school, and like she's gonna be a good mom and like save her daughter from embarrassment or getting a bad grade or whatever. Anya didn't bring her gym clothes because there's not gym class today. So then, Yor is feeling pretty bad and foolish. But she runs into Lloyd, and he's just like, ooh, what do I do here? How do I fix it? Let's go to lunch. And they have lunch. And it's nice. It's cute. It is a sweet little thing because we often don't see the two of them interacting as much these days without it revolving around Anya or them crisscross, like them like pretending to be a full family. We don't get a lot of just the two of them. And so it was nice to see them together like this. And it was a good episode overall. I would call that a pretty fun one. I'm looking for things to kind of heat up here. Also, I want more Watson. I want more of the dog that can see the future. That is just a plot device waiting to be exploited for comedic and action purposes. So, still a very fucking good show. Get caught up on it. Watch the dub. I don't believe the dub is fully caught up because it's hard to do that. But there's a lot of episodes of the dub out there. So if you want to, check that out. I can't say it's good or not because I have not watched it because I don't find myself watching dubs that often these days. Especially if it's a series I'm watching these subtitles of. Maybe I'll catch a clip here and there on YouTube, but I tend not to go hog wild on it. Let's see. That is all the anime that I have to talk about here. I would love to hear from you about things that you are watching or checking out or reading. Like, let me know. Video games you're playing. I played some Dungeons and Dragons today, and it was good. It was a one-off from my one-off group that I played with today. I am playing in my one-offs, like little short adventure series where there are a lot of people and there's some people that DM. I occasionally DM for that or GM for it, but we played a little like random roll, like you get your stat allocations and then you kind of figure out a character from there. So I played a new character, which I thought was pretty fun. Just Another Spicy says, been playing a lot of Ragnarok. No surprise there, I guess. Hey, I hope you're enjoying Ragnarok. Hell yeah. Want people to play the games that they want to play and have a good time playing them. So I played a little D&D today in my one-off. It was fun. Played classic character of somebody that is like a mage who is like pretty cocky, like a mage that thinks that he is like incredible and is just pretty okay. Like he can still do magic, but like he's not great at it, but he's got a real attitude about it. Just a cocksure mage. It was fun. It was a good time. I watched Jeff. This is from Lord Gretchen. I watched Jeff Gersman play Sonic Frontiers and noted that his interest peaked when the new metal Evanescence song started playing. Yes, because when the songs play, that soundtrack's pretty good, but some of those songs are, to me, reminiscent of the Dreamcast era of music. And so I could totally understand why Jeff would be intrigued by that. Last week says, I ended up getting that Atari 50 thing, the 50 year, despite not being alive for that era of stuff. The historical series they put together is really good. Wish it covered the Jaguar years just as hard, though. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There aren't many Jaguar years. There's just not a lot of The Jaguar was like a flash in the pan. Like, there's just only so much you could talk about when it comes... Like, there's just only so much to cover when it comes to the Jaguar. I mean, I wish they had done more. Yeah, probably. I have not checked out the collection myself. I am planning on picking that up. That is probably a next week purchase. I'm waiting for a couple checks to come in, and then I can, probably get into that. But I do believe I will be picking that up, if only just because friends of mine worked on it. People I like made that game. I mean, that collection. You might get the Atari 50 later when it's on sale. Your November game is God of War Ragnarok, and my December game will be, from Just Under Spice, it says Callisto Protocol. Yeah, I did enough spooky space monster, scary, I'm Dead Space likes. I think I'm good on that, but I hope you enjoy it. Ashbrook got the 50 collection, played the Lynx and Jaguar games, which are mostly not good. Yeah, that's the thing. The Jaguar's not a good system. There's a couple games that are good, but it's overall not a great system. Ragnarok is really good, says a Rist fan. Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You played some Star Raiders? Hell yeah. At least there's a legit version of Tempest 2000 with a Jeff Minter vibes going on strong. Yes. And some of the new games and new sequel stuff looks neat, looks interesting. So eventually I'll pick all that up. I mean, I do. Look, I've only played one actual Jaguar game on a Jaguar, and that was Alien vs. Predator, which is considered one of the best Jaguar games. I played that the brief time I've had playing a Jaguar. I didn't know anyone with a Jaguar. I had a Genesis. I knew people that had Super Nintendos, played a lot of Super Nintendo at friends' houses. And then I knew one dude with TurboGrafx, and I played the TurboGrafx 16 a little bit. I played Bomberman on there. Yes, Jaguar had a very weird controller. Unbelievably weird controller. One more thing about wrestling that I wanted to mention was I was so mad about the Sarah Logan thing. Sarah Logan's entrance was there were two factions in the ring. There were the what are their names? BFAB's crew were in the ring, and they were going to BFAB, a wrestler, was going to take on Selena Vega with her crew there. Now, of course, then Sarah Logan and the Vikings Raiders come out and beat everybody up, and it's like shocking. Here's the thing about that. BFAB has not wrestled since 2021 on television. Apparently, she has had 2 dark matches this year at house shows. But for television, she has not wrestled since she was in NXT. She got called up from NXT to the main roster. Did not wrestle. Got laid off in one of the early layoff rounds after being brought up to TV. Got laid off. And then got brought back recently and has not competed in the ring. Hey, we just got a raid. Welcome. Welcome, Hunter. Welcome, Raiders. I'm Pat Baer. I build model kits and Lego sets. I am currently working on a Lego set the Lego 3-in-1 Street Racer. We are working on the Hot Rod version of that. But welcome, happy to have everybody here. Earlier in the stream, we completed a kit I had worked on for a couple streams right here, which is the Exia Repair 2 high grade from 2009. We finished that kit, which is a fun little kit. It was a fun build. The parts of the chest were a little odd. I struggled a little bit with that, but overall ended up working out pretty good. But yeah, now we're doing some Lego. And we were talking about what people are playing or watching right now. I don't have any TV that I'm currently watching. I'm watching a lot of anime. I'll say that. I will say that Mob Psycho is probably my favorite returning show. Mob Psycho Season 3 is probably my favorite returning show of the season, at least. It is quite good, and it's getting better every episode now that they're kind of getting into, like, plot stuff. It is quite good. I would recommend it if you are behind on that show. Yes, Season 3 is out this season. Look, you'd be forgiven for not knowing because this season is fucking packed to the gills with content. Oh yeah, more One Punch Man. Yeah, I think that, Season 2 was pretty hit or miss for me, but that was not the writing, that was the animation. So I'm hopeful that when more One Punch Man comes out, that it looks better than Season 2. But I did think, characterization and storyline wise, Season 2 was fun. It is a little strange because it does, like, a lot of Season 2 focuses on, is this villain actually a villain? And are these heroes, like, are heroes too focused on the ranking? I think that's kind of interesting that was so much Season 2. But yeah, I didn't love One Punch Man's art so for Season 2. So I'm hopeful that when there's more of it, it just looks better. But yeah, this season of anime here, the fall anime season, packed to the gills. There's so much stuff. There's stuff that I just, like, haven't gotten around to watching yet that, like, is somebody else's, like, favorite show this season, hands down. And then, like, I'm watching stuff that, like, I've only dropped one show this season so far. Usually I drop a couple, but that Farming Skills one, the animation was just so bad, and it was, like, just kind of boring and, like, that eventually I was just like, I don't actually feel like watching this next episode. Oh, I think I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. So that happens. I try to give shows at least 3 episodes. Sometimes right away. You're just like, oh no, this is not a thing I want to watch. And other times, like, you're like, oh, okay, now that you've settled into the story you actually want to tell, I don't know. All right, we got to get a windshield going here. This, again, is the Hot Rod, the roofless, illegal vehicle. And we'll get that going here. And let's see about that. Someone tried real hard to convince me High School of the Dead was good. So, like, there are some elements to High School of the Dead that are interesting, right? Like, it is an action series about zombies focused on, like, people that don't really know each other, and if you really focus on the main character, trying to compartmentalize and like a lot of characters, like, dealing with the fact that the world has gone to shit, you could, like, argue yourself into believing that it's, like, telling an interesting story and, like, focusing on the action elements and the psychological elements of it. You could probably do that, but it is also a vehicle for cool headshots and boob physics. And so, like, there's only so much you can do before high school, before you just go, wait, actually, High School of the Dead is not good. There's nothing redeemable about it. It is just like the pacing gets ruined by other stuff. Yeah, like I never finished High School of the Dead. I was excited to start watching it because I was like, well, I don't really love zombie stuff, but I do think this is an interesting idea, and I think that like there could be something cool like from following the high school kids and treating it more like an action. But yeah, then it was just like, oh no. This is just it was just like bad horny. It was a bad horny show. Like there are horny shows that I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, and then there are shows that I'm like, no. And that's what that was. I don't have a good transition other than to say, people that came in the raid, thank you so much. You're used to raiding because we're going to go on a raid now because I'm wrapping up my stream. And I want to thank everybody for joining me here tonight. We are going to go and find somebody else doing cool shit and go raid them. We're going to go raid a charity event. We're going to go raid Desert Bus for Hope. A fantastic cause. So we're going to go give a Desert Bus a raid. They are raising money for Child's Play. They raise a ton of money. And we're going to go hang out with some people there. So I hope you come along in this raid. I hope you come back soon. On Monday night, come back, check me out, 9 p.m. Eastern, because I will be back here doing my thing, continuing to work on this Lego set. I want to thank everybody for spending some time to hang out with me. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Thanks everybody who's coming along in this raid. We're going to hang out there. They're going to raise some money. We're going to be entertained. And I'll see you on the next stream. Thanks everybody for being here. Have a great one. Goodbye.